Something flickers across his bloodshot eyes. Pain. Like you said, it's going to be bad no matter how you slice it. And whatever Peter wants, it's his turn to be saved. We both owe him that. My voice takes on a pleading tone. Besides, the Capitol hates me so much. I'm as good as dead now. He still might have a chance. Please, Hamish, say you'll help me. He frowns at his bottle, weighing my words. All right, he says finally. Thanks, I say. I should go see Peter now, but I don't want to. My head's spinning from the drink. I'm so wiped out. Who knows what he could get me to agree to? No. Now I have to go home and face my mother and Prim. As I stagger up the steps to my house, the front door opens, and Gale pulls me into his arms. I was wrong. We should have gone when you said, he whispers. No, I say. I'm having trouble focusing, and the liquor keeps sloshing out of my bottle down the back of Gale's jacket. But he doesn't seem to care. It's not too late, he says. Over his shoulder, I see my mother and Prim clutching each other in the doorway. We run. They die. And now I've got Peter to protect. End of discussion. Yeah, it is. My knees give way and he's holding me up. As the alcohol overcomes my mind, I hear the glass bottle shatter on the floor. This seems appropriate, since I've obviously lost my grip on everything. When I wake up, I can barely get to the toilet before the white liquor makes its reappearance. It burns just as much coming up as it did going down, and tastes twice as bad. I'm trembling and sweaty when I finish vomiting, but at least most of the stuff is out of my system. Enough made it into my bloodstream, though, to result in a pounding headache, a parched mouth, and a boiling stomach. I turn on the shower and stand into the water for a minute before I realize I'm still in my underclothes. My mother must have stripped off my filthy outer ones and tucked me into bed. I throw the wet undergarments into the sink and pour shampoo on my head. My hands sting, and that's when I notice the stitches, small and even, across one palm and up the side of my other hand. I vaguely remember breaking the glass window last night. I scrub myself from head to toe, only stopping to throw up again right in the shower. It's mostly just bile and goes down the drain with the sweet-smelling bubbles. Finally clean, I pull on my robe and head back to bed, ignoring my dripping hair. I climb under the blankets. Sure, this is what it feels like to be poisoned. The footsteps on the stairs renew my panic from last night. I'm not ready to see my mother and Prim. I have to pull myself together to be calm and reassuring, the way I was when we said our goodbyes the day of the last reaping. I have to be strong. I struggle into an upright position, push my wet hair off my throbbing temples, and brace myself for this meeting. They appear in the doorway holding tea and toast, their faces filled with concern. I open my mouth, planning to start off with some kind of joke, and burst into tears. So much for being strong. My mother sits on the side of the bed, and Prim crawls right up next to me. They hold me, making quiet, soothing sounds until I mostly cried out. Prim gets a towel and dries my hair, combing out the knots, while my mother coaxes tea and toast into me. They dress me in warm pajamas, layer more blankets on me, and I drift off again. I can tell by the light it's late afternoon when I come around. There's a glass of water on my bedside table, and I gulp it down thirstily. My stomach and head still feel rocky, but much better than they did earlier. I rise, dress, braid my hair back. Before I go down, I pause at the tops of the stairs, feeling slightly embarrassed about the way I've been handling the news of the quarter quell. My erratic flight, drinking with Hamish, weeping. Given the circumstances, I guess I deserve one day of indulgence. I'm glad the cameras weren't here for it, though. Downstairs, my mother and Prim embrace me again, but they're not overly emotional. I know they're holding things in to make it easier on me. Looking at Prim's face, it's hard to imagine she's the same frail little girl I left behind on Reaping Day 9 months ago. The combination of that ordeal and all that has followed, the cruelty in the district, the parade of sick and wounded that she often treats by herself now if Mother's hands are too full. These things have aged her years. She's grown quite a bit too. We're practically the same height now. But that isn't what makes her seem much older. My mother ladles out a mug of broth for me, and I'm asking for a second to take to Hamish. Then I walk across the lawn to his house. He's only just waking up and accepts the mug without comment. We sit there, peacefully sipping our broth, watching the sunset through his living room window. I hear someone walking around upstairs, and I assume it's Hazel. But a few minutes later, Peeta comes down, tosses the cardboard box of empty liquor bottles on the table with finality. There, it's done.